Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Star Report. This is Jason here at New Dimensions Crystals and Reiki in downtown Vernon, Texas. And today's Star Report is for July the 30th through August the 5th, 2025. And as we jump right into the Star Report, we start with our closest star, which is the Sun. The Sun has been active with coronal holes. And so, coronal holes, if you've been paying attention to the channel, and if you've been doing your research on what the sun is doing to the planet and how those cycles are moving through, then you will know that coronal holes cause the contraction or the compression of the Earth, and there's therefore an uptick. That just hit my knee. What's the sun doing to me? Therefore, causes an uptick in earthquakes, and so we saw the large earthquake that happened off the coast of Russia that had the tsunami warnings go out, and small tsunamis, I guess smallish tsunamis hit the coastline of several places. So that is continuing. There is one coronal hole that is currently leaving, right? So that energy and plasma would have already been contracting in the earth, probably causing an uptick in earthquakes that we saw. And then there is one that is turning inward. So it's almost like it's going to keep layering. So it's going to be that continued contraction. If you've been feeling a little sluggish or sort of stuck, that is also the energy that would produce for you. And along with the coronal holes, there has been low activity of the sunspots, which the sunspots usually have solar flaring. And so there hasn't been any big solar flare releases and only minor sparking. So if you sort of underneath the current, or if you're feeling all the subtleties are like that, sometimes that's a spark of inspiration, but not necessarily anything overwhelming or to the level of epiphany. We are currently in the zodiac of Leo, and so Leo alchemically, the zodiac has been measured to match up with physical parts of the body, and Leo is the center of the chest, heart chakra, physical heart, and then anything that's sort of active, right? You want to think about the nerves. If you were hunting as a Leo or a lion, the nerves that you would use in the body to sort of pounce. Those are the kinds of things that might be having a lot of current through it, right? So, a lot of times you could experience that as a physical form of anxiety, like you're ready to pounce, but that's just the extra current that's moving through the body. So, it might not be treatable in the same ways that you treat your regular anxieties. So just sort of pay attention that the body might feel on edge or might feel like it's ready to dominate, and that's okay. That's a natural feeling, and what we're trying to do is understand these energies as they flow through the body, so that we can understand the spaceship that we're floating through interdimensional reality with, and how when certain energies move through the body, that we can sort of tell, hey, how's our ship driving. Um, Zodiac is in Leo. We are currently in well, today adds our fifth. We're currently in 5 retrogrades, or beginning of the retrograde that is the 5th retrograde. And so we know that we've been in Pluto retrograde. Pluto's a little far out planet, really. The farther away the planet, the deeper inside it goes, right? So we want to think about Pluto as sort of these deep understandings. Usually it's old wounds, sometimes it's old talents, right? So spiritual talents that we may have had earlier in life that we forgot about, didn't use, that went dormant, or this could be, depending on your belief system, this could be past life sort of things, right? If you used to be a high priestess or used to be a pharaoh or all those kinds of fun things, those kinds of ideas of worthiness, that you can hold those kinds of powers in this reality that doesn't necessarily believe in all those kinds of things. Pluto can sort of trigger that for you. Leads us back to the next one, which is Neptune, deep blue water planet. Usually sort of a spiritual awakening kind of energy. And so the awakening is usually in the spiritual gifts, right? So Pluto and Neptune working together in these retrogrades are really going to sort of give you that idea that there's something more spiritual going on. A lot of times this might lead you in the logical world to think of conspiracies or things that are being hidden from you on purpose or kept from you. But most of spiritual understanding will tell you that all of the answers are already inside. So really this is a discernment of not what something out there is keeping from you, but what you are unaware or unknowingly not knowing where to look on the inside. So these kinds of discoveries are all of a sudden like the inside sort of gives you a beacon, like, hey, did you know that you had this power? Saturn is also in retrograde. Saturn, not necessarily the nicest planet if you'd like to be carefree, but this is really about accountability, right? So this is about building habits. This is about divine timing. but really the accountability for your actions, the accountability for your inactions, and just sort of the accountability that you're a divine eternal soul worthy of love and affection, and you're never going to die. And therefore, what are you afraid of to interact within this world and actually sort of claim and influence and build? Hey, thanks, Saturn. Also, Mercury retrograde always jacks with our technology, our travel, our communication. A lot of times, since we're in internet kind of world, we have sort of slowages, downages. The solar activity also contributes to that, right? So a lot of our things are broadcast. Actually, most of the internet is underwater cables, but with the activity of the sun and all that stuff like that, it actually causes actual arcs to come out of the earth and have energetic spikes. So that's sometimes why internet gets a little wonky, because of what the planet's doing, not necessarily what the sun's doing, but the sun's doing it to the planet. All the things, right? So everything's in relationship. Moves us into today, which I'll get into the Wednesday stuff. Chiron goes retro, starts to go retrograde today. Be totally retrograde by tomorrow. Um, and Chiron is really about inner healing and unification and becoming whole, right? So it's that light and dark, that inner, that outer kind of thing that starts to happen, right? And so that leads us into today, Wednesday, July the 30th. And so July 30th today, as Chiron goes retrograde, it's going to be retrograde for the next 5 months. And it's really going to sort of install mental habits not install, it's going to help release those mental habits that you sort of installed that have kept you caged, right? Here's why I can't do this, here's who's holding me back. All those kinds of habitual thoughts have led to habitual actions or habitual inactions. And so Chiron really starts to punch at that and release those. Chiron, in case you're wondering, is between Saturn and Uranus, and it's really the unification of the old and the new, the inner, the outer, the known and the unknown. It's usually sort of corresponding to what they now know is the 13th zodiac sign, which we don't usually have in the 12 zodiac sign stuff, and doesn't necessarily pay a lot of attention to the old alchemists that relate to the 12 zodiac signs. But the 13th zodiac sign is Ophiuchus, and also known as the serpent bearer, right? So this is really the idea that we're actively present and conscious in our spine, right? And so the serpent is the energy that moves up that. That's also called the chrism, right? So when we're moving chrism up and down, chiropractic stuff, then that's actually Christ consciousness, right? So the more that we can pay attention to the current and the oil and the salts that are moving up and down the spine, which is, bouncing off this satellite dish, which is our skull, and then off the base of the spine, where the kundalini or the sleeping snakes usually lies. That's the kind of energy that's really going on with Chiron. So just sort of pay attention, like, hey, now that we have all 5 of these over the next several months, and it's really sort of a big, hey, you're a spiritual being, act like it, and don't get so down about things that are the evidence of the outpouring of poor spiritual practices that might be happening in the culture. So that leads us into tomorrow, Thursday, the 31st of July. Chiron now fully in retrograde, makes 5 planets. A lot of times when all of that stuff sort of aligns and it's all this inner work, you might feel a little bit of emotional fatigue, like you're tired of feeling, or it just sort of feels overwhelming. And where's the respite? Can I get a break? Why am I so tired? You just want to think about that. It is sort of all this extra energy that's running through the body, and it's actually causing an inner look, right? So you've been containing a lot of electrical current that's going to lead to fatigue, right? Almost like running a long distance, right? The body's just going to feel like it's tiring out. That's normal to have during this. But it's of note that this is a passing thing, right? Shouldn't last too long, maybe a couple days, but definitely it's sort of clearing the pathway for next month's 8/8 Lionsgate. So that'll be next week's report when we talk about Lionsgate. But of course, Lionsgate's always this big portal where lots of shifts happens and everybody sort of gains their own personal power. Everybody sort of gains perspective on their inner work that they've done and realizes how to sort of implement that if you're paying attention to it, right? We know there's tons of people that don't want to know anything about this and are happy being unaware, and that is okay. But also is no excuse for you not to do it. Well, nobody else is doing it, or I'm doing it for everybody, right? So just keep doing the practices, no matter the spiritual fatigue. Leads us into Friday, the 1st of August. Really, the moon is going to be interacting with Mercury. And so you want to pay attention that Friday might be some delays in communication, delays in travel, right? So if you have any travel planned right before the end of summer, and of course, summer ends quicker and quicker, especially for those who have school age children, have to get back to the routine of practices and preparations. Um, Most of this communication issue, though, with the sort of alignments of the planets, is going to be with family, right? So don't necessarily worry about business per se on Friday, but sort of like interactions with family. And in that sort of sense, it's usually interactions with the differences in hierarchy or who has power or who has perceived power, right? So this could transfer over. It's going to be mostly family, but it could transfer over into work with bosses and people that have authority over you. However, Venus uh, is going to be aligned where social life should be good, right? So if you have a shitty Friday, you should have a great Friday night. Yay, thanks, planets. Moves us into Saturday, the 2nd of August, which is going to be the moon and Mars interacting. And that's really going to increase the ability to communicate between the opposite sex. So it looks like a really social weekend. And if you're into the dating world or you're sort of looking for that special someone, right, the ability to communicate and sort of be clear about that. Or if you're dating someone and you have no idea who they are, this sort of communication might opens up and it might sort of like, oh, that's why I'm with this person, or hey, why am I staying with this person? So all those kinds of things could happen, but definitely the communication eases and you can start to sell clear wants and needs and stuff like that. So that sounds like good. I am recording this, right? I am. Oh, that's so funny. I was like, did I even hit record? Am I talking to nobody? That's funny. That was a weird thought to have in the middle of this. Oh, okay. Moving into Sunday, the 3rd of August. The moon in Sagittarius is really increasing the ability, increasing the maybe even desire to sort of have spiritual learning, right? And so this could be a reading of a book. This could be doing a meditation that bears a lot of fruit or understanding or perspective. Also, just sort of pay attention to that energy. And then also the moon's interaction with Saturn is really going to be excellent for imagining business moves, not necessarily execution of them, right? Because we're still in Mercury retrograde, but definitely sort of like, hey, I think this is the next thing in business, right? This is how to make some money. This is how to save some money. All those kinds of things will be happening on Sunday. Moves us into Monday, the 4th of August, and the sun will be trining the moon, and so that sort of trinity, that trining, really sort of brings joy into view, right? So how can what parts of all of your life, right? So this could be business, this could be family, this could be interpersonal, this could be even relationship with self, right? It's just sort of a joy to be alive, right? You get this opportunity to sort of like, this is a hell of a puzzle and I'm still here, and that means I have a purpose, and therefore in this a joy that I'm so talented and can take on life. uh it's okay to be your own hype man. If you're not going to be your own hype man, who's going to be your own hype man? uh if you don't believe your own hype, who's going to believe it when you tell them? So yeah, this is that sort of thing. You just sort of be in the joy of we get to sort of figure this stuff out, we get to be alive, and the things that we've sort of given superpowers over us or seem like hard to resist, the reason they seem so powerful is because they'd like us to think that we're not. So just sort of embrace that and be just super happy that the reason that anything wants to annoy you or mess with you is because of the power that you contain. A little bit matrixy there. You're a battery and they need your power, but you know, something like that. Leads into the last day of this week's report, August the 5th, Tuesday. Moon's going to be squaring Mars. And so that sort of square is really going to give you a feeling of let's fight, right? And this is not necessarily let's like get in a fight just to fight. This is not a violence thing. This is really more of a fight for your perspective, a fight for your point of view. Um, that your ideas have meaning, that they have validity, right? In this sort of fight for it could even mean breaking silence, right? If you've been like, nobody wants to know this and I'm just a little person and why should I even say this kind of thing? This is the kind of energy that's like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna fucking tell people what I think. Right. And so just sort of understand that we are in Mercury retrograde and it might not be received that well, right? And so this is sort of the beginning of the communication, but it's the desire to communicate your reality and your ideas. Moon Capricorn is actually going to help you focus that, right? So it's not a tirade of like, here's what's all wrong with the planet and blah blah blah, but like here's the main issue that I need to focus on. And then the moon's interaction with Saturn might be messing with your guts. And so probably Tuesday is a good day to eat very little or maybe even do a fast or a water fast, whatever your preference might be. That's the week. I should be here all week. I don't have any plans as of yet, as of the recording of this video, to actually not be in the shop today. So I should be here. I should be here today, Wednesday, through Saturday, 11 to 5. Of course, if you'd like to book an appointment, newdimensionscrystals.com, get an energy session. Tarot cards are walk-ins, so don't try to book those online. Doesn't happen. And that's what. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'll be here all week. Blah, 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 blah. Book an appointment. There was something else I was going to say. It just sort of slipped my mind. I guess you don't need to know it. But yeah, until next time when I find this little stop button, many blessings, everybody.